Winter is officially manatee season in Florida. That magical time of year when the temperature dips, the snowbirds arrive, and the alerts on your phone start warning you about falling iguanas. And yes, for everybody watching from out of state, that is a real thing. The falling iguana index is how we measure the severity of a Florida cold snap, because we'll use anything but the metric system around here. And believe it or not, those chilly mornings that send the iguanas plummeting from the palm trees are exactly when you're most likely to see Florida's most beloved gentle giants. Because manatees can't survive in water that's below about 68 degrees, so when the weather gets chilly, manatees head for the state's natural warm water hideouts, crystal clear springs and power plant discharge canals to survive the cold. So if you've ever wanted to see manatees up close, or even swim with them, 'tis the season. From wild springs to industrial lagoons, here are the top 10 best places to see manatees in Florida this winter. And we're going to start at one of the most popular manatee hangouts in the entire state, Blue Springs State Park in Orange City. This is in the Orlando area, just west of DeLand. And every winter, hundreds of manatees pack into this crystal clear spring run, seeking the 72-degree spring water that never gets too cold for them. On some mornings, you can see 500 of them floating shoulder to shoulder like sleepy gray submarines. There's a long wooden boardwalk that follows the spring run so you can see them from above without disturbing them, and a live webcam if you'd rather stay warm at home and watch. It's peaceful, it's predictable, and it's easily the most reliable manatee hangout spot in all of Florida. Blue Spring is so reliable that the park rangers do a daily manatee head count and post it online. But this is a busy spot, it can fill up fast, and parking can be tricky. Just a heads up. Next up, Three Sister Springs in Crystal River, probably the most famous clearwater manatee spot on the entire planet. This spring is part of the only U.S. wildlife refuge specifically designed for manatees. In winter, hundreds gather here, turning the waterway into what looks like an all-manatee traffic jam. You can see them from the boardwalk or join a licensed eco tour to swim alongside them. Crystal River is the only place in the country where that's legal, but only if you go with a licensed guide. There are a few of them in the area, and I'll put some links in the description of some of those places if you want to do this. It really is something everybody should try to do at least once, but just be ready for that water. It might be warm enough for the manatees, but it is cold, and you really might want to think about a wetsuit if you do this. And it makes for an incredible underwater experience. Don't forget to bring a waterproof case for your camera or phone though. You're going to get some great pics when you do this. But if you'd rather stay dry but still want that underwater view, Homosassa Springs Wildlife State Park has you covered. It's part manatee sanctuary, part rehabilitation center with an underwater observatory, a literal glass fishbowl that lets you see the manatees and lots of fish from just below the surface. Some of these manatees are permanent residents recovering from boat injuries, while wild manatees visit here each winter when the nearby river cools down. It's one of the most educational and reliable stops on the manatee circuit. Just look for that giant manatee out front and you'll know this is the place. This park is also home to lots of other Florida wildlife who live here because they can't survive in the wild on their own. It's kind of like a zoo just for Florida critters. Great park, and I highly recommend this place. Real quick, before we get to the next manatee hotspot, please don't forget to like and subscribe. That really helps this channel grow, and I sincerely appreciate that. I've got lots more cool Florida content coming, from the theme parks to the state parks, and you don't want to miss it. This next one's just a little bit more off the beaten path, but definitely worth it. Manatee Springs State Park near Chiefland. This is a peaceful slice of old Florida with a spring run that feeds straight into the Suwannee River. And when the cold hits, manatees follow that river right into the spring for some warmth. The boardwalk winds through a cypress forest that looks straight out of a nature documentary, and it's not uncommon to spot manatees, gar, turtles, and the occasional curious otter all in the same spot. This place is smaller, quieter, a little less well known, and great for anyone who prefers the calm of nature over the crowds of Central Florida. And just up the Suwannee River from Manatee Springs is Fanning Springs State Park, another cozy cold weather refuge. This park is smaller, quieter, and feels like one of those locals only spots. And when the river temperature drops, manatees cruise right into the swimming area, often close enough to see from the steps. You might even see a mama and a baby pair resting together because this is a favorite nursery spot during cold spells. Next up, Silver Springs State Park near Ocala. Now this is Florida's oldest tourist attraction, and it's a place that still has a few tricks up its sleeve. At Silver Springs State Park, manatees will drift through the same glass-bottom boat routes that have been running since the 1800s. They're winter visitors, usually from December through March, but you'll sometimes see them grazing there right underneath the boats. And this is also just an awesome place to go kayaking for a chance to get right up close and enjoy some of the most beautiful water in Florida. I really do love this park. You can bring your own if you have one, of course, but if you have no idea what you're doing, you can go on a beginner-friendly kayak tour led by an experienced guide. And even the kayaks are clear too, so it's like having your very own personal glass-bottom boat. But for a mix of mermaids and manatees, Weeki Wachee Springs is really hard to beat. This is near Spring Hill, Florida, about an hour north of Tampa, where manatees love the warm, clear river and kayakers often find themselves sharing the waterway with them, especially near Rogers Park and in the lower sections of the spring run. Here's a little bit of a close encounter my daughter and I had here with a curious baby that came right up to us to say hi. It was unforgettable. But don't worry, Mama Manatee wasn't far away either. This is one of the most beautiful paddles in the state. Just remember to keep your distance and drift rather than chase. The mermaids are used to having an audience, the manatees, not so much. And manatees will occasionally venture into the main spring here, and sometimes you can spot them on a little pontoon boat tour that's part of your park's admission. Okay, now this next one might sound strange, but try to stick with me. Florida's power plants are manatee magnets. And here's why. Power plants pull in water from nearby bays and rivers to cool their machinery. Then they discharge it back out, slightly warmer than before. It's clean, just warm, and the manatees treat it like a day in a jacuzzi. Now, one of my favorites is the Tampa Electric Manatee Viewing Center in Apollo Beach on the eastern side of Tampa Bay. This is a full-blown facility with a visitor center, a butterfly garden, a stingray touch tank, elevated platforms, and even some hiking trails. And on chilly mornings, you can sometimes spot hundreds of manatees huddled together in the warm outflow canal. Now, I did a video here a few years ago, and I can tell you this is one of the most reliable manatee experiences in the state. And it's also completely free, doesn't cost a dime, even parking is free. I'll post a link in the description to that video too if you want to see a little bit more about what this place is like. Now, these are power plants. They aren't going to be the most beautiful and attractive, picturesque places, but they are great for seeing a lot of manatees. Now, a couple more power plants around the state you might want to check out are Manatee Lagoon in Riviera Beach. This is operated by Florida Power and Light with an interactive eco center and a viewing deck. And the Cape Canaveral and Port Everglades plants. Both of these draw on manatees during cold snaps, though public access at those is a little bit more limited. Now, when it gets really cold, when the temperature dips into the 40s and the iguanas are falling and you can see your breath, the manatees are guaranteed to be at these places, and they're probably a lot happier about it than you are. And over on the Space Coast, Merritt Island National Wildlife Refuge offers one of the most unique manatee viewing combinations in all of Florida: rockets and sea cows. Manatees love the calm waters of Haulover Canal and Bears Cove, where you can often see them rolling just beneath the surface. The refuge shares land with Kennedy Space Center, so don't be surprised if you're watching manatees one minute and a rocket launch the next. Only in Florida can you get that kind of double feature. And rockets seem to go up all the time now. SpaceX is always shooting something off, so you've got a really great chance of seeing something if you time it just right. And finally, the ultimate Florida bucket list experience: Kings Bay in Crystal River. This is the heart of Florida's manatee world. The same network of springs that feeds Three Sisters also feeds Kings Bay, and together they create the largest winter aggregation of manatees anywhere on Earth. And yes, aggregation is actually what a group of manatees is called. Not exactly the most exciting name, right? We've got murder of crows, a fever of stingrays, flamboyance of flamingos, and manatees get aggregation? I think they deserve better. I'm gonna nominate the word chonk for this. A chonk of manatees. Let's make that catch on, guys. But naming aside, this is the only place in the entire United States where swimming with manatees is legal, and only with a licensed guide. We already talked about the swim experience at Three Sisters, but this is the most popular spot. This is kind of the center of the whole thing. Dozens of warm springs keep the bay at a steady 72 degrees, and manatees gather here by the hundreds. The rules are strict but simple. You can't chase them or grab them, but if a manatee approaches you and initiates contact, that's allowed under what's called passive observation. You can touch them if they initiate the contact. Otherwise, just float quietly and let the manatees make that decision. And when one of these gentle giants comes right up to you, eye to eye, face to face, it's one of the most unforgettable wildlife moments Florida has to offer. And if you want to try this for yourself, I'll drop links in the description to a few licensed tour operators. This is one experience every Florida traveler should try to do at least once. So whether you're floating in Crystal River, walking a boardwalk at Blue Spring, or standing at a power plant surrounded by steam and sea cows, Florida's winter manatee season is something everybody should experience at least once. Just remember, these are wild animals, give them space, don't feed them, and the next time your phone buzzes with a falling iguana alert, you'll know exactly what to do. Grab your camera, head for the nearest spring, and enjoy the warmest part of Florida's coldest days. And if you love exploring Florida's wildlife and the rest of the state, from the theme parks to the state parks, please hit like, please hit subscribe, and check out my other videos. I've got lots more cool Florida content coming. Please stay safe out there, everybody, and I will see you around the Sunshine State.